बिहारी जय माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजनवल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजनवल्लभा जय गोपीजनवल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन 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 यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 जय राधा मदन मोहन राधे जय जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा श्रीला प्रभुपादा जय हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 श्रील AC भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णवृंद की श्रीमद् भागवत पुराण की हरे कृष्णा. Thank you very much for joining us and sharing your Sunday morning with us here at ISKCON Hyderabad at the lotus feet of Sri Radha Madan Mohan, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, Sri Gauranitai and Srila Prabhupada. I'm very grateful to be a part of your program today. So today we'll be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, chapter 22, text 7. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Mahabhagavat Das, and I serve in ISKCON Toronto. I'm just visiting here. My parents live in Hyderabad, and I've been distributing books and interacting with so many wonderful souls here in Hyderabad and around India. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. My spiritual master is His Grace, Shriman Sankarshan Das Adhikari, who is the author of a course, an online e-course called the Ultimate Self-Realization Course. Anybody can join the course. It's free of charge at www.joincourse.com. So JOINCOURSE.com. So if you have a phone, it'll take you about a minute to sign up for the course. And if you'd like to stay in touch with me for any reason, you can go to my website, dasadas.com, DASADAS.com. So we'll read from Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshvabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naisthiki Prithuruvacha Aho Acharitam Kim Me Mangalam Mangalayana Yasya Vo Darshanam Hi Asin Durdarshanam Cha Yogibhihi Prithuruvacha Aho Acharitam Kim Me Mangalam Mangalayana Yasya Vo Darshanam Hyasi Durdarshanam Cha Yogibhi Prithuruvacha Aho Acharitam Kim Me Mangalam Mangalayana Yasya Vo Darshanam Hyasi दुर्दर्शानां च योगिभिः। पृथुर्वाच अहो आचरितं किं मे मङ्गलं मङ्गलायनाः यस्य वो दर्शनं ह्यासीत् दुर्दर्शानां च योगिभिः। पृथुर्वाच अहो आचरितं किं मे मङ्गलं मङ्गलायनाः यस्य वो दर्शनं ह्यासीत् दुर्दर्शानां च योगिभिः। पृथुर्वाच अहो आचरितं किं मे मङ्गलं मङ्गलायनाः यस्य वो दर्शनं ह्यासीत् दुर्दर्शानां च योगिभिः। पृथुर्वाच अहो आचरितं किं मे मङ्गलं मङ्गलायनाः यस्य वो दर्शनं ह्यासीत् दुर्दर्शानां च योगिभिः. Ladies, try. Go ahead. Can you not see it? Please try. You can do it. One of you. Please try. Prithuruvacha aho acharitam kim me mangalam mangalayana yasya vo darshanam hyasit durdarshanam cha yogivihi. Thank you very much. Translation. King Prithu spoke, "My dear great sages, auspiciousness personified, it is very difficult for even the mystic yogis to see you. Indeed, you are very rarely seen. I do not know what kind of pious activity I performed for you to grace me by appearing before me without difficulty." We'll also read the translation together. King Prithu spoke, "My dear great sages, auspiciousness personified, it is very difficult for even the mystic yogis to see you. Indeed, you are very rarely seen. I do not know what kind of pious activity I perform to grace me by appearing before me without difficulty." Purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When something uncommon happens in one's progressive spiritual life, it should be understood to be incurred by ajnata sukriti, or pious activities beyond one's knowledge. To see personally the Supreme Personality of Godhead or His pure devotee is not an ordinary incident. When such things happen, they should be understood to be caused by previous pious activity, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 28. Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punya karmanam. One who is completely freed from all the resultant actions of sinful activities and who is absorbed only in pious activities can engage in devotional service. Although Maharaj Prithu's life was full of pious activities, he was wondering how his audience with the Kumaras happened. He could not imagine what kind of pious activities he had performed. This is a sign of humility on the part of King Prithu, whose life was so full of pious activities that even Lord Vishnu came to see him and predicted that the Kumaras would also come. We'll beg for blessings from all the spiritual masters and then we'll begin the discussion. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisance at the lotus feet of my spiritual master. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च. हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Thank you very much. पृथुरुवाच अहो आचरितं किं मे मङ्गलं मङ्गलायनाः यस्य वो दर्शनं ह्यासीत् दुर्दर्शानां च योगिभिः. King Prithu spoke, "My dear great sages, auspiciousness personified, it is very difficult for even the mystic yogis to see you. Indeed, you are very rarely seen. I do not know what kind of pious activity I performed for you to grace me by appearing before me without difficulty." Just for those who may not have attended the last few Bhagavatam classes, just very quick context. Maharaj Prithu is a Shaktyavesh avatar, a empowered incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For example, Parshuram is another Shaktyavesh avatar. Maharaj Prithu is of the same category of actually an avatar of Sri Krishna, a human being empowered with the full potency of God. And he is performing amazing pious activities, so amazing that he performed 99 Ashwamedha Yajnas, 99. And King Indra, Shri Gaurnitai ki jai, Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai, Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Devi ki jai. They've just had their breakfast and they are now gracing us with their presence, their personal presence for this class. It's not ordinary. The form of the Lord is non-different from himself. Radha Madan Mohan is able to bless us with knowledge of our personal relationship with Krishna. Shri Gaurnitai are the most merciful incarnations of Krishna, and Shri Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra Devi are in so much ecstasy that they are just willing to give blessings and boons to anybody, even without asking. So that is the greatness. And here is Srila Prabhupada, who has brought them all to us here in Hyderabad. Okay, so King Prithu is the plenary incarnation of Shri Krishna, and he is been graced by, after 99 Ashwamedha Yajnas, King Indra, the king of heaven, was so threatened because after performing 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas, you are eligible to take the position of the king of heaven. So King Indra disturbed his Ashwamedha Yajnas by stealing the horses multiple times, sometimes by taking the guise of a sannyasi, sometimes in other ways. And King Prithu was extremely angry, but he was pacified by his seniors. And Lord Shri Vishnu himself appeared in his fire sacrifice and said, "Be satisfied with your 99 Ashwamedha Yajnas. I am satisfied by your 99 Ashwamedha Yajnas, so don't worry about it." So King Prithu was satisfied, and one day he was conducting a fire sacrifice, and he was speaking to the Brahmanas and his citizens, and the citizens were speaking to him again. And during that fire sacrifice, all of a sudden, the 4 Kumaras appeared. For those who might not know who the 4 Kumaras are, the 4 Kumaras are the sons of Lord Brahma. They are senior by birth to Lord Shiva, but they look like 5-year-old boys. They appear completely innocent and completely without any clothes, actually, and they go around the whole universe, gracing anybody that they see fit with their association. So the 4 Kumaras themselves appeared in the fire sacrifice of Maharaj Prithu. And Maharaj Prithu is now saying, "Oh, I don't know what I have done to deserve your association. Thank you very much for coming here and gracing me with your association." So we'll talk about that verse. So there are a couple of words in this verse. Mangalam, Mangalayanaha. Okay, so Mangalam is understood to be auspiciousness. And we see auspiciousness is defined in the material world as something that is good for ourselves. But not ourselves, our external selves. So something that is good for our senses. So what is Mangalam in the material world? A lot of money. Let me get a lot of knowledge so I can get a lot of money and respect and power and prestige. Okay, let me get married. If I'm married, then let me have children. If I have children, then let my children be beautiful and smart and rich and famous. And let me live long. Let my power and fame be spread all over the three worlds. These are all the definitions of Mangalam in the material world. However, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, this kind of Mangalam is defined as Manodharma, Dvait, Shubha and Ashubha, we know. And what is inauspicious? Oh, poverty is inauspicious. Okay? If electricity goes off when I'm watching my favorite TV program, that is inauspicious. I must have done some sinful activities because I can't watch my TV programs. Okay? If I lose some money, whether with my own mistake or whether by somebody stealing it from me, that is misfortune, etc. So we see the world in terms of Shubha and Ashubha. However, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that Shubha and Ashubha are actually Manodharma. Dvaite Shubha Shubha Jnana Saba Manodharma Ei Bhalo Ei Manda Ei Saba Brahma. Dvaite in the duality of good and not so good, good and bad, good and terrible, excellent and terrible, all of these are dualities. In this world, Shubha, Ashubha, Jnana. We know that something is auspicious and something is inauspicious, but that is called Manodharma. Manodharma means religion of the mind. Okay? You can imagine, you know your mind, everybody knows our own mind. You can imagine how stable our mind is, no? Sometimes you will like one dress, another time you won't like the same dress. Sometimes you will like one person, another time you won't like the same person. Sometimes you like one subject, sometimes you won't like one subject. You like one teacher, you won't like one teacher. You like one hotel, you won't like one hotel. You like one place, you won't like another place. Sometimes the same person is your friend, the same person becomes your enemy. Right? Within your mind, everything is happening within a second or five. Maybe he likes me, maybe she doesn't like me. Maybe they hate me. Maybe, these things continue to happen. So you can imagine how stable our mind is. Actually, it's unstable. Chanchalam mana Krishna, Parmati balavadhridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. The mind is not stable. In fact, it's completely unstable. So, the religion of the mind is stable or unstable? Highly unstable. So, this Shubha, Ashubha or Mangalam that we see in the material world is actually Manodharma. It's completely useless because it is completely unstable and it's completely temporary and completely flickering and it's completely unreliable. Okay? So this Mangalam that we see, that we understand from the material sense is actually not Mangalam at all. Srila Prabhupada, I was hearing a class by Chandramouli Maharaj just a couple of days ago in Mumbai in front of Sri Radha Gopinath, and Chandramouli Maharaj was saying, one disciple of Srila Prabhupada said, Srila Prabhupada, the mode of goodness is characterized by happiness. In other words, he was saying, the disciple was saying that let us all become in the mode of goodness so that we can be happy. And Srila Prabhupada said, the mode of goodness is characterized by knowledge, which tells you that there is no happiness. Okay, that's what Srila Prabhupada said. So actually, to understand that there is no Mangalam in this material world, whether you get married, whether you don't get married, whether you get rich, whether you remain poor, whether you are beautiful, whether others consider you not so beautiful, all of those things are not actually Mangalam. So what is that Mangalam? The Mangalam is defined in this verse. Yasya vo darshanam hyasi durdarshanam cha yogivi. Mangalam means coming in contact with a saintly person who carries Krishna within their heart. Okay? So that is the meaning of Mangalam. So all of us, here, gathered here at the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, here in person as well as those who are online, okay, we actually have found out the actual meaning of Mangalam because we have come in contact with Srila Prabhupada and his followers. So we have disciples of Srila Prabhupada, such as Anandamaya Prabhu, and grand disciples of Srila Prabhupada, in some cases even great grand disciples of Srila Prabhupada, even the humble book distributor on the street somewhere, they are all the definition of Mangalam. So I have been in Hyderabad for a few weeks now, and I've been distributing books mainly in the Dilsukh Nagar area, and I'm meeting a lot of people, okay, and people actually don't realize that the Bhagavad Gita has come looking for them, but they are thinking, I will finish my exams, I'm writing some competitive exams, sir, I don't have any time to read this right now. In 1 month, in 2 months, in 3 months, in 3 years, in 30 years, in 300 years, I will read it. One day I will read it. But people don't understand that tomorrow never comes. So for example, tomorrow never comes. When will it be done? Tomorrow. You come again tomorrow. When will it be done? Tomorrow. I told you tomorrow. Why are you bothering me? I told you it's tomorrow. And tomorrow never comes. So what we have acquired by coming here into the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is Mangalam. Okay. So actually meeting any kind of devotee, no matter whether they are advanced or not, is actually Mangalam for us. Why is that? Because anybody who has chanted the name of Krishna once is very dear to Krishna. Even once, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave 3 definitions of Vaishnava. Okay, 3 definitions. The first definition of Vaishnava that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave is one who chanted the name of Krishna once. If somebody has taken and it's very difficult to find a person in India who has not chanted the name of Krishna at least once, isn't it? It's difficult because there are so many names. Somebody is named Mohan, somebody is named Krishna, somebody is named Gopal, somebody is named, so many different. And even thanks to the software industry, people around the world are chanting the names of Krishna, even without knowing what they are doing. So it's very difficult actually to see a person who has not chanted the name of Krishna even once. They might be Muslim, they might be Christian, they might be tribals in the forest, but they will still be chanting the name of Krishna. So that is the first definition of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Those people are to be treated as Vaishnavas. And we can talk about how to treat those Vaishnavas, but yes, they are Vaishnavas. So that's Mangalam. We have seen a person who has taken the name of Krishna. The second definition of who is a Vaishnava by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is someone who chants the name of Krishna constantly. Somebody who is always chanting. See, we have a devotee here who is constantly chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Cannot stop chanting. So these devotees are very special. They are in the second category of definition of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They are the people who chant the names of Krishna always. And then all of you Vaishnavas who are wearing tilaks, right? You are especially very special because by seeing you, what do people say? Hare Krishna. By seeing your tilak, just by seeing your tilak, they say Hare Krishna. Okay? So the third category of Vaishnava who is defined by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is one by seeing whom others chant the name of Krishna. Now, whether your name is Krishna or whether you have a tilak or some devotional clothing that reminds people of Krishna and then they say Hare Krishna, regardless, if you remind people of Krishna, then that is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meant the highest devotee. Like when somebody sees Srila Prabhupada or disciple of Srila Prabhupada, they naturally chant the name of Krishna. So that is the highest category of devotee. So whenever we see any of these 3 categories of devotees, we should understand that my Mangalam is here. Okay, not my other Mangalam that I think, my job, my business, my money, my bank account, my boyfriend or girlfriend, wife, husband, children, father, mother, brothers. All these are false soldiers. They will not go with you when it's time for you to go. You have to leave all of them behind here. Okay. So when we see such a devotee, then that means our Mangalam has arrived. So just a quick note on how we treat devotees who are not yet dedicated to Krishna, we definitely at minimum respect them in our heart. Why do we respect them in our heart and not externally? Because they might be bewildered by when we give them respect. When somebody is immature and we give them respect, then what happens to their false ego? Goes up. and they start thinking that they are very great, such as film stars, business people, sports people. People give them a lot of respect, isn't it? And what happens to their false ego? They start thinking that they are actually great instead of being the recipients of just the prakrite kriyamana ani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudhatma kartahamiti manyate. That person thinks that I am great. So therefore we avoid openly giving them respect, even though we respect them within the heart. So when we respect somebody within the heart, how is our behavior towards them? It's always very pleasant. It's always very, very kind, very respectful, very cordial, right? So we don't say, hey, come here, do this, do this. We don't do that with people who we respect, isn't it? So we are meant to treat everybody with great respect. And with devotees who have actually dedicated themselves to Shri Krishna, we offer them respect openly by folding our palms, by sometimes, offering them respect by going on the floor, etc. Because they know that this respect is being offered to me because of my association with my spiritual master, and that respect then gets offered to the spiritual master. They don't get puffed up by that kind of respect that is offered to them. And the third category of devotee, by seeing whom everybody chants Hare Krishna, we are meant to actually serve them, find out what pleases them and serve their mission. Now, when a devotee appears, their speech and their activities indicate the depth of their devotion. So, for example, a devotee will not talk to you about the stock market. They will not talk to you necessarily about the coronavirus pandemic. They will not talk to you about politics or cricket, or they will not talk to you about the latest movie. They will not talk to you about what is a good dish in a particular restaurant. They won't talk about these kinds of things. They will find a way to figure out how to talk about Krishna. After they inquire about your welfare, understanding your welfare and so on, they'll talk to you about Krishna. And according to their degree of realization, they will talk to you about Krishna. And then you can understand that this devotee is mature. This devotee is interested in speaking only about Krishna. When we meet such a devotee, unfortunately, in the material world, Kadamba Kanana Maharaj says this about somebody who met his spiritual master. His spiritual master is Srila Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj, who is a great sannyasi, personal associate of Srila Prabhupada, who has served as Srila Prabhupada's editor, English editor, for many, many years in the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. So many of these books that we see here are coming through Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj. So he was once upon a time giving a seminar. Okay? He was giving a seminar. I forget the topic of the seminar right now. But then, after a lot of people attend the seminar. There might be maybe hundreds of people attending the seminar. And sometimes there's a break, during the different sessions. And after the break, at the break, people say, so what do you think? What do you feel about the seminar? How is everything going? And then two people were discussing about the seminar. And one person was saying, it's all theoretical, just quotes from the Shastra. This devotee was saying. And that means Kadamba Kanana Maharaj drew the conclusion that means this person is actually not following the Shastra, and to him, hearing from the Shastra is an irritation because they are reminded of the things that they are not doing on a daily basis. So when we meet a Vaishnava and they bring the Mangalam to us, and then we ignore that Mangalam by focusing on what we think is Mangalam. Oh, talk to me about the weather, man. Come on. Talk to me about the exchange rates. I want to hear about the price of gold. Okay, I want to hear about the design of this particular necklace. Right? I want you to comment on my outfit. Don't you see how wonderful my outfit is? I have taken 3 hours to pick my outfit yesterday in the store, and it took me 2 hours to make sure that my hair is just right and so on. And you come to me and start talking to me about Radha Madan Mohan's outfit. Well, I have seen this outfit 2 months ago. Actually, no, you haven't, because every time the pujaris dress the deities, there is something different about the deities, even if they appear to be wearing the same outfit. So when we see that Mangalam, we should actually recognize it. And only if we have this Sukruti, whether it is Adnyata Sukruti or Jnata Sukruti, however it might be, only if we have that Sukruti, Srila Prabhupada says, when something uncommon happens in one's progressive spiritual life, it should be understood to be incurred by Adnyata Sukruti or pious activities beyond one's knowledge. The fact that we are here in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, the reason why we are chanting Hare Krishna, why we have any kind of taste for any kind of devotional service, whenever we come to the temple, if a devotee calls us and actually engages us in some kind of service to the Lord, or asks us to maybe fold the carpets or the mats, or maybe take a broom and sweep a little area of the temple room, we should understand that this is very uncommon in our progressive spiritual life. Because, Krishna has millions of servitors. In the gopi category alone, he has 3 billion of them, okay? Just the gopis alone. 3 billion. You know how much is 3 billion, Prabhu? Can you tell me in crores? Huh? So there are 300 crore gopis alone. And then there are manjaris, countless manjaris. The number of manjaris is not actually given. Okay? And then there are devotees in the other moods, such as Vatsalya. Those who are following in the footsteps of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya, Devaki and Vasudev. There are countless devotees like that. For example, Putana is in that category. Now she's one of the mothers of Krishna. So Krishna has uncountable number of devotees who are just waiting to serve him. Okay? So the rest of us who are not in any kind of direct personal relationship with Krishna have no right for any kind of service. But when we get that service, when we come to the temple, we should understand that that is a very uncommon thing, that somebody has engaged me in service. So whenever somebody asks you to lead kirtan or play a musical instrument or say, please chant, that is actually a great mangalam for us. So we have seen personally the devotees of the Lord. Now you can think, okay, Srila Prabhupada is here, he's a pure devotee of the Lord, but the rest of you, I don't know. But actually, you should understand that Srila Prabhupada will not engage someone except if he sees some purity in them. You understand? So if somebody has dedicated themselves even 5% or 10% or 20% to the service of the Lord, that person has to be understood as a person who is on the progressive march of 100% pure devotional service. So Srila Prabhupada and other pure devotees actually see someone's potential. Like if you go to some city area, some new area that is being developed or not developed yet, okay? So if an ordinary person goes there, they will see this and they say, just rocks here. There is nothing here, just rocks, okay? If a little bit more advanced person comes here and says, oh, you know what? I have to spend 1.5 crores to get an apartment in the city. Here I can buy some land for maybe 50,000 rupees and I can build my house for 10 lakhs and I can live here happily. Okay? So that's the next level of person. Now, if some really solid businessman or businesswoman sees that plot of land which is currently full of rocks, they will say, I'm going to build a massive mega complex with 7,000 apartments here. And it's going to be a 15,000 crore project. So that kind of vision is there also on the spiritual side. So when a spiritual master recognizes someone and accepts their service, whether they are initiated yet, they are not initiated yet, it doesn't really matter. But when they accept their service and when they engage them in service, then we should understand that person to be actually uncommon. We should understand that person to be actually a pure devotee. Even if the purity might not yet be fully manifest today. Maybe, sometimes they like to drink some tea, or maybe sometimes they like to go and watch a movie. Even then, we should understand that actually the purity is about to manifest. That's why Srila Prabhupada has accepted them within the temple community, within the temple environment. Okay? So, yesham tu antagatam papam gunanam punya karmana, jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dhridavrataha. So, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 7th chapter, closer to the end of the 7th, actually the last verse of the 7th chapter, is that the last verse of chapter 7? So, Krishna says that yesham tu antagatam papam, whenever the sinful activities of a person are coming to an end, whenever they are coming to a close, then that person's faith in Krishna begins to increase. Then that person is able to chant Hare Krishna, maybe 1 round, maybe 2 rounds, maybe 4 rounds, maybe 16 rounds, maybe 64 rounds, depending on how much of their papam is burned off, that person is able to engage in devotional service. So when you see a person regularly engaging in devotional service, what does it mean? Finished, or practically almost finished. Te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante maam dridvrataha. Even if that person is chanting one round, and that person is chanting one round for 6 years, that is dridvrata. To stay on that is not easy. In the material world, it's definitely not easy. So that person should actually be respected greatly. So what to speak of the great Kumaras? The main problem in this world today is that if the Kumaras were to show up in our midst, we would tell them, hey, why are you not wearing clothes? We would not see their purity because their purity is not manifest to someone whose eyes are covered. So the great devotees are walking amongst us, dealing amongst us. They might be your colleague, they might be your family member, they might be your friend, they might be some stranger on the street. They are walking amongst us, but unfortunately we don't have the eyes to see them. So Aho acharitam kimme mangalam mangalayana yasya vo darshanam yasi durdarshanam cha yogibhi. What to speak of us, even the great yogis who are meditating in the Himalayas continuously, they find it difficult to see the pure devotees. When Srila Prabhupada was walking the planet, there were people who dared to criticize the actions of Srila Prabhupada. So when Lord Jesus Christ was walking the planet, he's a pure devotee, he's a great Vaishnava Acharya, according to Srila Prabhupada. When he was walking the planet, they said, kill this fellow. Kill this fellow. He's a threat to the government. Kill him. Of course, it's superficial to understand that someone like Jesus Christ can actually be killed. But that's how the situation is. Our spiritual masters come in and out. They're coming in and out. And people don't even pay attention to them. The great devotees who have dedicated themselves to the service of Srila Prabhupada for 50 plus years, people only see the externalities. People don't see the depth of their devotion to Srila Prabhupada. So it's actually very, very difficult for us to perceive this. So if we cannot perceive this, then what is to be done? We should actually assume that every person that we see in any connection with Sri Krishna is actually a pure devotee. That is the safest thing for us to act. We should not be in a way where we are judging other person's advancement or judging other person's depth of devotion, etc., from the external. Because I'm wearing a tilak, maybe somebody out of their kindness gave me some sandalwood paste, and maybe I have a kanti mala and I'm wearing a dhoti, etc., but a small 6-year-old girl might be more advanced devotee than me. Okay? We should not actually see that. We should actually be very careful to see everybody in the vicinity of Krishna in any way, whether in his name, in his books, in his temple, as a pure devotee that Krishna has invited personally. So when we see everybody in that way, that this person is dear to Krishna, then how will we treat them? We'll treat them with tremendous respect, and we will actually see their wonderful Vaishnava qualities. Otherwise, we will not see. We will only see the faults. Now, Radhanath Swami Maharaj constantly says this. He says there are two kinds of people, two kinds of insects. Both of them are insects. One is a housefly and the other one is a bee, honey bee. Housefly only sees the faults. This person is this person is this. Oh, I saw that person without a dhoti once. And honeybee is constantly going from flower to flower looking for the nectar. It goes even to the flower that might not have a nectar in the hope that there is some nectar there. Okay, so we and our attitude should be in like that of a honeybee, where we are actually constantly looking for nectar in other people's consciousness and inspire that nectar in others. Because when you treat them, then that way they will actually manifest those qualities also in front of you. Okay, so I'll stop here and see if there's any questions, comments, or corrections. Feel free to ask your questions. A class is made real when it's two-way, in the sense that if you heard something that makes sense or does not make sense, or causes some doubt to appear in your mind, Giriraj Maharaj says that moment you should ask that question, because that is the moment that Krishna has designed for you to get that thing clarified once and for all. So please go ahead and let me know if there's anything that we can assist you with in your progressive spiritual life. Okay, as Srila Prabhupada says. Please use the mic.
The question is that I was reading a book written by Radhanath Swami, The Journey Home. and he came from USA to England, then Middle East to India. And what he said, one thing, that finding a guru, a spiritual guru, one of the most difficult tasks in the human life, because there are so many bogus guru itself. So he found some Srila Prabhupada, fortunately. How could we find a guru? I mean, still I'm connected to ISKCON from a long time, watching so many videos on YouTube and doing Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, but still I'm not able to find a particular guru.
Yes. So in our movement, there is one great devotee. His name is Bhakti Brihad Bhagwat Swami Maharaj. He used to be known as Brihad Mridanga Prabhu in his brahmachari days. He is a disciple of Srila Giriraj Swami Maharaj. Giriraj Swami Maharaj is one of the personal associates of Srila Prabhupada. So he has been in the movement for, I don't know, at least 30 years, if not more, 30, 40, close to 50 years he has been around. Okay, but he's a disciple of Giriraj Swami Maharaj. But before he got initiated by Giriraj Swami Maharaj, he actually took initiation from another guru within ISKCON who could not maintain their position. So that person went away from the movement, and then this young brahmachari was looking for shelter, and he found a shelter of Giriraj Swami Maharaj, and he took initiation from him again. So I once asked him this question as to why does it happen that somebody takes initiation from a bogus guru, and he told me that it's related to your past karmic activities. So in other words, if you are looking to cheat, then you will find a person who will cheat you. If you are looking very honestly for a guru who can set you straight without looking at the externalities like glamour, fame, if I become a disciple of, I'm going to use this example, if I become a disciple of Radhanath Swami Maharaj, then he's a big guru, like that. If you have that, it's not that, that people have thought like that who are actual, honest, sincere, serious disciples of Radhanath Swami Maharaj. But there are people who may be in that category. So if we are sincere, then the guru will appear. So essentially, what you need to do, Prabhu, is you need to stand in front of Sri Gauranitai and you need to tell Sri Gauranitai, look at me, I'm a wretched soul, and despite being associated with your movement for so many years, I have not come to a point where my guru has appeared in front of me. Or if my guru has appeared in front of me, I have not been able to recognize him. So, my dear Lord, what can I do to purify my heart so that I can recognize my guru when they appear in front of me? Another symptom, another thing that happens within ISKCON, and by the way, I went through it myself, okay? It's called guru shopping. So, when you go shopping, you're looking for a pair of jeans, for example, and you say, I already have this shade. Let me get something in gray, right? Or this fit, I'm not sure about this fit. Maybe it doesn't look so good on me. Let me try another fit, right? We do that with clothes, right? And it's okay to do that with clothes, right? But in terms of guru, that is actually an offensive mentality. So guru means a person who is connecting me best to Krishna. And to start measuring them like you're measuring apples and oranges in a weighing scale is actually offensive. That actually indicates the shallowness of our understanding of what a guru is. So my request to you, Prabhu, is to read Srila Prabhupada's books very, very carefully and thoroughly. Okay? Because Shastra leads us to proper understanding. And then find someone within your circle of association who is following Srila Prabhupada's books perfectly. And then surrender to that person. And if that person is not initiating disciples, then you surrender to their spiritual master. In this way, you find your guru. So I had met my guru in 2004. Okay? And I wrote him 600 plus questions. Some were challenging, some were offensive, all kinds of crazy things. But he patiently answered all the questions. And here I was thinking, I'm born in a Brahmin family in South India. How can I take initiation from a person who is an American? I was thinking like this. So, fortunately for me, it hit me that I am being very offensive. And 7 years after I met my guru, and after I had done a bunch of guru shopping, right, I realized who my guru is. The first person who helped me throughout my spiritual journey patiently, and who had the the mercy to correct me when I was wrong and to tell me that you're being a fool, that person is my guru. Guru is not someone who flatters me and praises me and whatever, right? So you will see that the bogus gurus are like that. They will flatter you, they will please you with their beautiful words. The real guru will cut you. They will perform open heart surgery. Most gurus will give you some anesthesia before, but there may be some gurus who might not. But that's the whole thing, right? The problem is in the heart. We are turned away from Krishna. Now we have to turn again back to Krishna. The guru means heavy sometimes, and definitely my guru is very heavy with me. And the more they see that you are sincere, the more they can be open with you. Otherwise, they are worried that this person is very immature, and they might go away if I actually give them the truth. So you have to inspire that confidence in your guru that they can actually be honest with you. Okay?
So, Prabhuji, I have another one question here. That
As if you are eating the mic.
okay. So I have another question same thing. So will Guru accept us, like we reach out to him or we find out and ask him that please make us your devotee? So will they accept? Easily, or they.
It's the guru's job, it's the guru's duty to test that the disciple is sincere. So the guru might give any kind of tests, right? They might ask you to wait for a certain length of time, or they might ask you to wait indefinitely. They might ask you to perform certain kinds of services just to test your sincerity and your level of understanding. It's their prerogative to do that, right? My guru also made me wait after I asked for initiation. It's not like, oh yeah, come on, now I'll initiate you, right? So the guru wants to make sure that you are actually sincere and serious, because for the guru, for them it's an offense to their guru to accept somebody who is insincere. So it's like that. So yes, they have the right to test you, because tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam dhyanenas tattvadarshina. If you have a great treasure inside your pocket, inside your bag, let's say you have some great treasure, right? And you are looking for someone to give that treasure to for safekeeping. Will you give it to anybody who says, give me? No, right? You'll make sure that person is trustworthy, right? Now, put yourself in the situation of a father who is giving his daughter in marriage to somebody. Will he give her to any boy? He has to he'll make sure that this fellow is actually okay. So they will be strict, right? They will do those things, isn't it? So that's their job. If they don't do it, then what's the point of being a father, right? So similarly, Guru has a duty to check that the disciple is sincere. And the disciple has a duty to check that the Guru is following their Guru properly. So if you read Srila Prabhupada's books, if you associate with the sadhus within the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, right, then you will find your Guru and you will know who your Guru is, and you will be able to surrender to that person. Right? So this is important. Make sense?
Yes.
Understood?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else? Questions, comments, concerns?
Prabhu, as you said that, but I still cannot understood that how can we say that it is my Guru? Like, how can we measure? Like, how can we say that it is my Guru? Sometimes we feel that he is my Guru, but sometimes we feel that he is not my Guru. How can we say that we are correct or not?
So if you rely on the rantings of the mind, you will never be able to know that. Mind is what? We talked about mind. Chanchalam mana Krishna pramati balavadrunam. Flip flop, flip flop, flip flop, flip flop. I like this, I don't like this. I like this, I don't like this. I like this, I don't like this. Right? So the Guru is beyond the platform of the mind. So you need to understand that your mind is a useless rascal. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said that beat the mind with shoes and slippers and brooms, morning and night. Right? He said that. What does it mean to beat the mind? You don't actually beat the mind with that. You philosophically convince the mind that you are an idiot who has kept me bound up in the cycle of birth and death for all of eternity. And you question the mind and say, you say this is not my guru. Why? What is your reason behind that? And the reason cannot be, oh, I don't like him, or I don't like the way he sings. It cannot be that. It has to be based on Shastra. So if you're feeling like this, flip-flop, 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 that means that your understanding of the Shastra is not yet strong enough. That you cannot recognize who is a guru and who is not a guru. Right? But apart from that, any spiritual master within ISKCON will only teach you what Srila Prabhupada has taught you. Right? If they are not, then run. Okay? Even if they are in ISKCON, then run. But make sure that you have actually understood it properly and they are actually saying something opposite, because you might misunderstand. Right? So strengthen your conviction by reading Srila Prabhupada's books. And then ask yourself the question, who is connecting me to Krishna the best today? Who has connected me to Krishna the best so far? And it's a fact. You know, when we chanted the mantra, we say, Vande Sri Gurun Shri Vaishnavamsa. Gurun means plural. So you will have many spiritual masters. And they are called your instructing spiritual masters or Shiksha Guru. And there will be many. I have hundreds and thousands of them. Somebody who has taught me something about Kirtan, somebody who has taught me about deity worship, somebody who has taught me about the particular procedure in a particular temple. Right? Every temple has a slightly different procedure because of the geographical, geometrical arrangement of the temple room and so on. Like there are differences there. Like the timings, like somebody says, you know, I was leading the Tulsi Aarti and they said, okay, stop the Kirtan now. So technically speaking, that person is a guru because he showed me how to stick to the time of this the program of this temple. Right? So we'll have many, hundreds and thousands of them, Shiksha Gurus. But there will be one special one who will be connecting us to Krishna the best and the deepest. Whether it is directly or whether it is through their network. You know, it's not that the guru has to manifest personally to instruct you all the time. They can instruct you through their disciples. Right? In that case, that person is your guru. You accept shelter from that guru, follow their procedure, do whatever it takes to get initiated. Right? But flip-flop, I went through that whole process myself until I realized that I was being a fool. I was judging a guru. You cannot. Because what hour do I have to judge any guru? You just have to say, who is connecting me to Krishna the best? Right now. Through their effort, their network, through their facilities that they have set up, through their temples, whatever it might be. Right? So then you won't be in doubt. Does that make sense? Does it help?
But sometimes, like I feel, Prabhu, like I think that the qualities are being like I generally ask Prabhu that sometimes I feel that the person has the quality, but by seeing the people around me, the people betrays and the false gurus are there. So that sometimes I fear that the person from outside is very good. He's telling me the good things, but inside, how can the person be?
Understand Srila Prabhupada's books and you won't have this doubt.
And at last, Prabhu, that I have once read that one disciple has said me that I have read a quote regarding Swami Bhaktivedanta Swami. He said that don't make a false guru and said he has cheated you, but instead accept Krishna as a guru and liberal.
Can you repeat that?
Don't accept false guru. Imitating guru and then tell that he has cheated me, instead of accept Krishna as your guru.
Krishna is everybody's guru. He's Jagat Guru. Krishna is definitely guru. However, Krishna says tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam dhyanenas tattva rashinam. I will tell you a little story, okay, and then we'll take maybe one last question and we'll end here, okay. So there were Duryodhana and Yudhishthir. They were called, and Duryodhana was told, go and find someone who is better than you. And Yudhishthir was told, go and find someone who is worse than you. So Yudhishthir went around looking for someone who is worse than himself, and he came back empty-handed. Why? Because he's so humble that he sees everybody as better than himself. Okay? And Duryodhan went and found, his duty was to find someone who is better than him. He went around looking at everybody and said, oh, this person is worse than me, this person is worse than me, this person. He also came empty-handed. So both of them came back empty-handed. So Yudhishthir could not find someone who is worse than him, and Duryodhan could not find someone who is better than him. Okay? So when we are looking for Guru as well, this is an important consideration for us to take. Like, where am I in my consciousness? Right? Ultimately, Srila Prabhupada has established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness to give us that safeguards. So for example, even if a Guru within ISKCON is not following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, that person cannot remain a Guru. For whatever reason, if they deviate, they will be asked to stop initiating or whatever. Like, those things happen. So that system of checks and balances that Srila Prabhupada has set up through the GBC and through the various bodies, right? No charismatic individual can just come in and cheat people forever, right? But if you do happen to get cheated, then you should understand that it is your own past karmic reactions that got you there, right? But you can trust the system that Srila Prabhupada has set up, and you can trust Srila Prabhupada's disciples collectively, if not individually, right? And their grand disciples, because my spiritual master's biggest nightmare is that I might deviate from Srila Prabhupada's instructions. So he's constantly correcting me, even if I go 0.01 degree this way or that way, he says, no, this is not the way to do it. And most spiritual masters are that way with their disciples that they can trust, right? So you can trust that International Society for Krishna Consciousness is not going anywhere. We are not going to deviate from Srila Prabhupada's instructions. We are not going to water down the teachings, even though temporarily there might be some glitches here and there. Somebody might not know how to lead Kirtan properly. But that doesn't mean that they will never know. Somebody will take them to the side and say, Prabhu, we chant these mantras in this kind of Kirtan. So next time you lead Kirtan, you please do that. Then next day they will be corrected. Right? So that will happen. So please understand the instructions of Srila Prabhupada very carefully, deeply, and hang out with people who have understood those instructions. That come often to the temples. That's why the temples are there. We are an educational institution, right? And associate with that. So if anybody has one last one, we can take that. Otherwise, we'll stop here. Mataji has, please pass the mic.
एक्चुअली जब आप बोले थे कि पढ़ो बोल के तो मैं नहीं पढ़ सकी.
Bring the mic closer to your, yeah.
हाँ, ओके. जब आप बोले थे कि पढ़ो ये तो मैं नहीं पढ़ सकी. तो बीइंग अ मुस्लिम मेरे में डर था कि कहीं मैं फ्रीक्वेंसी मैच ना कर पाऊँ या कहीं मैं गलत ना पढ़ूँ. तो उस डर को मैं कैसे ओवरकम करूँ?
अच्छा, तो आपका प्रश्न है कि आप श्रील प्रभुपाद की किताबें पढ़ना चाहते हैं, लेकिन आपको डर है कि कुछ गलत ना समझ बैठूं. Okay, so I'll translate that into English. So what she said was that she wants to read Srila Prabhupada's books, but she's worried about misunderstanding Srila Prabhupada's books. हाँ, तो Srila Rupa Goswami ने formula दिया है. Srila Rupa Goswami has given. You understand English?
हाँ, I can understand.
Okay, so I'll speak in English, so you know, so it's a common language. So the Srila Rupa Goswami has given us this instruction: Shruti Smruti Puranadi Panchadatrikim Vidim Vina Aikantikim Harer Bhaktir Utpatayaiva Kalpate. In other words, if you try to practice bhakti ekanta alone without the support of Shruti or the spoken scriptures, Smriti, the remembered scriptures, and Puranas, and without the Narada Pancharatrika and other systems like that, then that only causes a disturbance in society. So similarly, reading Srila Prabhupada's book should be done in the association of devotees. So at ISKCON Hyderabad, there are many programs where devotees, for example, ladies, gather together and study Srila Prabhupada's books together. Because there are certain things that we can discuss openly and certain things that only boys can discuss and girls can discuss amongst themselves. You know, it's just proper that way. So there are certain groups that are combined, like this group here, we are combined here, but there are also certain groups that are only for ladies, right? And there are different kinds of groups, you know, people who speak Telugu, people who speak Hindi, people who live in this particular area, people who attend that particular office. There are so many different kinds of groups here in this community. So if you come for the Sunday Feast program, have you come to the Sunday Feast program?
No, but I know that from January it's starting every Sunday.
So on Sunday, when is the Sunday Feast program, Jeevan? What time does it start? At 1 o'clock. So Sunday Feast program 1 p.m. So most of the community members who are there in the community, part of this community, attend that program regularly. So if you want to make devotee friendships, right? You can make friendships now. There is this young lady sitting right next to you who is clearly interested in Krishna consciousness. Right? You can make friends right now. The 4 of you and the 5 of you there can start a reading group where you start reading Srila Prabhupada's books together. Right? You can meet once a week at the temple if you cannot make it for the Sunday feast. Right? There are any number of ways, but the idea is that Srila Prabhupada's book should be studied in the association of devotees. फिर misunderstanding नहीं होगा, कुछ गलत नहीं समझेंगे आप. नहीं तो we can read whatever we like inside the books. Okay. Because there are so many. There is Sureshwar Prabhu नाम के एक शिष्य हैं. Sureshwar Prabhu is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada who conducts a seminar where he says, my Prabhupada, your Prabhupada, his Prabhupada, her Prabhupada. You know, what he wants to say is that some person thinks that Srila Prabhupada is very strict. You know, and they basically try to propagate a type of Krishna consciousness that is very, very strict, full of, like, heavy. Another person thinks that Srila Prabhupada is very, very lenient. So he tries to propagate a kind of instruction that is, oh, Prabhupada allowed everything, he was very liberal, he did this, like that kind of thing. Some other person says, Prabhupada is Indian, and he pushes forward Srila Prabhupada. But Srila Prabhupada is none of these. Srila Prabhupada is perfectly transcendental. He did whatever was required to make that person Krishna consciousness at that time. So you can't say that he's Indian, he's Westerner, he's preaching only in English, he's very strict, he's not strict. Like, you can't say this, right? But if my thinking is that I'm very strict, for example, then I see Prabhupada as being very strict, right? And then I propagate that kind of culture. But that can happen and become uncontrolled if I'm alone. But if I am in the association of my god brothers, my god sisters, my Guru Maharaj, other spiritual masters in ISKCON, they'll say, Mahabhagavat, you are being a fool. Stop. Prabhupada is not like that. Right? So, samjhe na?
जी.
Okay, so we'll end here. We are way past the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. हरे कृष्ण.